What is your accidentally caught your spouse cheating horror story? Not me, but a medical resident who I met on rotation recently. One of the nicest guy I ever met. Super intelligent and hardworking. And training to be a trauma surgeon by humble as they come. He had been married for 2 years to his wife. One night he gets off a 30-hour call early and heads home to surprise his wife with some flowers and her favorite dessert. It was the anniversary of the day they first met. Only to find her in bed with a random dude. He was so exhausted and confused. He didn't know what to do and just left and went back to the hospital. I saw him at 5 AM. Sitting in the parking lot. Hunched over crying. He didn't even have his phone with him. He was just sitting there. Man. Nothing breaks your heart more than seeing a grown man cry. It's not something you see often. We called his dad up and he came and picked him up. The guy ended up taking a leave from his residency. Turns out, it wasn't the wife's first time sleeping around. Hope he gets back on his feet. He will make an amazing physician. On family vacation. I picked up his phone because I was bored and the kids were playing on mine. Saw a message to some girl describing the sex he and I had the night before. Spent the rest of the vacation fighting via text while trying, and failing, to act normal. Friend of mine was hanging out with some guys at a bar and went home to chill with them. He asked how they knew my girlfriend at the time, realized she was a mutual friend at the bar. Guy said she was FCK buddies with his friend. My friend was confused and mentioned she was the girlfriend of a friend of his, me, to which his response was, "Oh. I hope you're not good enough of friends to have to tell him." College girlfriend and we lived together for a year after I realized she would always have her phone on silent or just plain ignore calls from Jennifer. One day I write down the number and call it a week later. It ends up being her other boyfriend who she had never broken up with before she came to college. Neither of us knew about each other and she had been visiting him when she went home to see her parents on some weekends and breaks. Broke up soon after and her mom said that sometimes you just have to accept things and how I owed her an apology for breaking up with her. It gets worse, but that was the gist. Walked in on my girlfriend while she was having sex with another guy. "What are you doing here?" she says. "You gave me a key. Remember? I ended up not working today and wanted to surprise you." 15 years later she reaches out. Leaves me a message that she'd like to talk. I figure she's doing some 12-step thing or something and wants to make amends. Nope. She wanted to try and sell me on Amway. Mt. St. Augustine erupted in Alaska in 1986. They had to evacuate all planes out of Elmendorf AFB due to ash in the air. This sent my unit home from Korea 3 days early. I got home at 2 AM and there was a guy sleeping next to my wife in our bed. Mt. St. Augustine coming in clutch. I just got off work after working the graveyard shift. I walk into my apartment with my fiancée riding some guy she met at a party on my futon which they broke. I walked out with so much rage and broken feelings. I went to my car and cried. Found my wife's notebook. Written on the first page was a 10-step plan detailing how she was going to leave me for another guy. I turned it into one step. Her phone went off and she asked me what it said. I looked at it and it said, "I wanna bend you over and spank you. Just another text from your father." Woke up to her on her phone with heart scrolling and Facebook Messenger. We were married 7 years at that point. 2 kids. It was my birthday. Edit. I won't feign total innocence. Marriage is hard. I was working and in school full time so she could be a stay-at-home mom. Which was our goal. She realized she wanted something else and moved on. Shit happens. Roll with the punches. Came home early. They were fast enough to get dressed but not in a natural state of being. If that makes sense. It was obvious something was just going down. Very cliched, got walked in on and tried to play it cool like you see in TV. I asked him to leave and he did. We argued. She tried to lie but soon confessed. It wasn't the first time she cheated, but it was the first time that I caught her in the act. Everything in the past was just texts and stuff. She said that she never slept with the other people and it was just pics and flirting. In retrospect, that may not be BS. We divorced. Both remarried. Not friends by any stretch. But civil. Went to log into email and a suggested one that I didn't recognize popped up. I answered all his security questions. And reset his password to find emails between him and a neighbor. We were in therapy to recover from him cheating with her and there they were waxing poetic about their love and when I'd be out of the house so they could be together. The actual horror story is that our 7-year-old daughter is the one who accidentally caught them originally by walking into our bedroom while I was at work. I was at Disney. With our kids. Day 2 of a 7-day family trip her father had been. By that point. Talking up for about 7 years. He and her mother told us when the kids were born. They were going to take us all to Disney when they turned 7. And 7 years later. It finally happened. At that point. We'd been together for over a decade. Had a great job. A house. Bunch of kids. And the full-on. 100%. Honest to goodness American dream. Life was grand. Until I picked up a phone to set an alarm on night 2 of our family vacation of a lifetime. There were so many texts. So many. I remember actually wanting to hurt her. And having to leave the room. I immediately called the number and heard some f***ing strange dude answer with a sleepy. Dot. Hello darling. I'm glad to hear from you. Full stop. I wanted to die. The sense of unreality that I experienced. It was immediately numbing. Like I'd just switched to the dark timeline. All I could think was. Dot. From this point on. Everything that I have known about my left. Is going to change. Full stop. Girlfriend ran over her phone by accident and destroyed the screen. I returned from work on Christmas Eve. We had tickets to a festival which started the day before and I couldn't find the tickets anywhere after seeing them the month before. I decided to double check the trash before we put it out for collection. I found a used condom. We lived on our own. Dating this girl a few years back and I became really good friends with her brother just because he appreciated my help during a difficult time for their family. Their father had abruptly passed away. 2 years into the relationship the brother contacts me and asks to meet up for coffee and a serious conversation. Apparently he caught his own sister with another guy, mutual friend of ours, and this shit had been going on for like a year. As soon as he found out, I was told. Broke up with her. Still friends with her brother. Go figure. Edit if I was gay I'd date him. Everyone happy? Haha. Thanks for all the love. That guy's a bro. Caught my now ex-husband. Something was way off. I was 6 months pregnant with our second child and my best friend at the time was also off. Picked up his phone at 2 AM when it went off and found a secret password locked messenger. Go messenger? Password was his birthday. Real winner. I found over 7k messages along with photos. Some insinuating I was present with either one of them while they were messaging. I was upset and woke him up. He locked himself in the bathroom and pulled the attempted suicide card. There's another year of trying to work it out shenanigans after this incident, but I'm so glad that chapter in my life is over. Edit. Came back from a trip 4 hours early. Wife was supposed to be at work still. Opened the front door to see her sitting topless on the couch making out with a coworker. He ran out the door. She ran into a bathroom and locked the door. Sat on that couch for about an hour because I couldn't think what else to do. Finally just up and left. So she could come out of the bathroom and put her shirt on. I hope you left really quietly. So she still thinks you are sitting there. We had a linked Apple account. We both had the Find My iPhone app. Figured out what all the late nights at work really were. Me and my girlfriend were long distance and she had a habit of going quiet sometimes. She'd been texting me for the last few weeks but had made excuses not to come visit. I went to a party that my friend had organized. I met a friend of his who told me he had a new girlfriend. I was surprised he hadn't mentioned her. So I asked who she was. This lady introduced me to my girlfriend. She told everyone that we broke up and had been dating my friend for about a month. She didn't bother to tell me. I posted this, went to bed, and didn't expect it to be so popular. I'll try and explain today. Long story short, I suspected something for a few months. Like an idiot, I opened her phone while she was asleep and found exactly what I was looking for. Like you always do when searching through someone else's phone. Even with all of the texts right there to see, she still lied about it multiple times. She eventually admitted to it but downplayed it heavily. She told me about 2 nights ago that he asked her out on a date and she said I had to say no and was visibly sad about it. In the process of getting a divorce now. That's like hell. One of my former co-workers loaded in a SD card with a scanned project file on it. He put it into the conference room PC. We were treated to naked pics of his wife f-king another guy. We were just stunned. This was in a senior budgetary meeting with the outside accountants and auditors. And he was sitting right there and we were looking at his wife and another guy going at it. I reached over and shut the projector off. Nobody said anything. He got up and walked out and drove off in his car. Left his phone and laptop sitting on the table. He wound up driving to his parents' house 3 states away. He was gone for a week. Dropped her off at home. Went inside to use bathroom. Found condom in the trash. We hadn't been using condoms for a bit. That one hurt for some time. She claimed it's not used, lol what. As bad as I wanted to make a scene and call her everything possible, I just proceeded to leave the place and never look back. Condom had fluids inside of it. Unless it was a limited edition DLDO that also spits out jizz. It was clearly not used on a sex toy, lol. I found out my ex-boyfriend, dated from 15-18, had been cheating on me when, upon walking into the apartment he shared with his mother and 2 elementary-aged sisters. The youngest sister asked me, "When did you leave?" I asked her, "When was I here?" She responded, "You were here all night. I could hear you talking to ex's name." I had not been there for 2 days at that point. I asked him what she was talking about and he blew bubbles for a few minutes before confessing. Good riddance. Not sure if everyone knows blue bubbles means having nothing to say yet still talking. It may be local slang. Yes. Though. I do think the joke is funny. At least Bubbles had a good time, I guess. Her phone got a text from her friend who was in the kitchen with her. So I assumed one of them sent it to me. Opened her phone to see a penis. Her friend doesn't have a penis. Now I'm divorced and don't trust texts from friends. A wild penis has appeared. My cousin was visiting us for a long weekend. She and I were super close. Like sisters. I went upstairs to put the baby to bed. Came back down to them going at it on the couch. So that was fun. I know it can sometimes take a while to put a baby down, but who the FCK thinks they can bust and get dressed and remove the smell of sex from the air while their wife is upstairs. Shti. One day my husband was getting ready for work and I saw him packing his GoPro case so he could take it to work. I thought, that's weird. Why would he be taking it to work? So, when he jumped into the shower, I replaced his GoPro with mine and thought I'd look through the files when he leaves for work. My suspicions were on alert because he had just taken a trip to the Pi with some friends. A guys only weekend kind of thing. Fire up the camera and found 3 videos. Lo and behold. There he is in all his glory, baby-king a Filipino prostitute. Looking and posing for the camera like he's some F-king PRN star. I was enraged, but also looking at this fool acting like he's a F-king adult film star was hilarious. The craziest part of this story for me is that you own 2 GoPros. We were engaged and he had a drinking problem. He was blacked out drunk. Accidentally butt dialed me. And I listened to the whole thing. Only to find out after that it was with a prostitute. Boyfriend finally convinces me to have a threesome after months of begging. I finally agree and our mutual friend comes over. Things get hot and heavy and when he starts f-king her he moans. Damn, you feel even better than usual. Everyone freezes. He tries to tell me that he was thinking about my PSSY while f-king her and that it just felt differently. But she felt so guilty that she confessed on the spot and begged me to forgive her. We don't really talk anymore, but last I heard she had been dating my ex for over a year. What the fuck? Not my relationship. But my boyfriend's mom took me out to lunch to get to know me better. We really kicked it off and had a great lunch. She had to run home because she forgot to grab a gift for a show we had to attend after, and we found her husband ducking the neighbor on the couch. She was mortified and never the same around me again. Her son and I split because of that. He didn't think his dad was wrong because his mom gained weight, as in she was now 145 feet 6 and not 120. So I never found out what happened. I mean, your ex didn't think his dad was wrong for cheating? Went home and my husband wasn't home. Which was weird for him at 8 PM. When an hour earlier he had told me he was going home. Had a gut feeling. Went to one of our female friends, who he claimed was like a sister, apartment. His truck is there. I knock. No answer. Try the door. It's unlocked. Walk into the living room. Nobody there. Hear noises in the bedroom. Walk in and lo and behold, there they are. Tried to make it work over next couple of months. But I can't get past it. Didn't even want him to touch me. Divorced 4 years ago. Edit. Our female friend, this was a mutual friend who we had both known for years. Went to HS with. Etc. A friend of mine literally walked in on his wife and another guy doing it on their sofa. I guess he just yelled what the FCK and ran out. Facebook was a real shitshow for a few days. And she even had the gall to blame him back. It's your fault I cheated. Luckily there were no children in that marriage and not much money to fight over. Had been on the road for work. Was supposed to be 10 days. Got to go home a day early. Had a friend pick me up at the airport to surprise my wife and 2 children, 2 years and 8 months. Walked into my ex and her coffee friend snuggling on the couch. With my kids in the same room. I was livid. Of course she denied everything. We split up weeks later. I got a new job with a cell phone company. Free phone for me, 15 a month for her. First bill comes in with call detail. She was on the phone an hour a day with this number while supposedly at work. I call. Dude answers. I hang up. I ask her. She lies and said it was a gal pal of hers. I told her I know she is lying and call it again. Dude answers. FCKU Brooke. After a night of trying to keep up with my ex and her co-workers drinking, I call it a night. They stopped talking a few minutes later and the dog scratched at the door. I let the dog in and saw them making out on the couch. I watched for 10 minutes before they noticed me. They were taking their clothes off by then. And he was touching her favorite spots like he knew them well. No denying it by then. I am glad I knew. A tense conversation followed with the two of them. He left. Very drunk on a very cold night. She got a ride to her aunt's place and begged me to go look for him in the cold. Dog is the hero of this story. One night she told me not to come over because she wasn't feeling well. But then my sister wanted this hoodie back that she'd borrowed. So I thought I'd stop over with chocolate and a Slurpee. I knocked on her door. She came to the upstairs window with only a blanket wrapped around her. I thought I told you not to come over. My sister needs a hoodie. Who's that? Says some male voice from her bedroom. Ah. I see how it is. I'll talk to you tomorrow. She says. Probably not. Have a good one. Christmas Eve I went into the computer to find a photo for a last minute gift. An ornament with a family photo I did for her as a tradition every year. Instead found a love letter from some guy at the gym to her. Then kept looking and found tons more. Over the next year. It just got worse and worse to a point you'd never believe. Semicolon. Gosh. That was a fun Christmas for me and our young children.